Extraction arrived at Mother Base. Clouds approaching. Please select a mission. Unit dispatched. Unit dispatched. Unit dispatched.
A ruler's greatest wealth is not money or land. It is the number of individuals under his control. Subjects who work, consume, are there to be used as pawns in war. For a capitalist ruler, his people's power becomes his power. You are the same. With your diamond dogs, you spin it with your speeches. But what you're doing is bringing as much talent as you can into your little domain. Every person another feather in your cap. Yes, since ancient times, every civilization's ruler has had the same idea. When people unite under one will, they become stronger than the sum of their parts. And the one will is the ruler's will. And what do rulers use to bring people together? Language. In the Old Testament, it is written that only one language was spoken in Eden. A shared tongue that united all of humanity. Mankind eventually grew aware of its power and harnessed that strength to build a tower to the heavens. The mighty Tower of Babel. This angered God, who splintered the language of man, and the tower was never completed. Languages emerged, and the earth was divided as men went their separate ways. Every age is the same. A ruler's first order of business, after conquering new land, is to force his tongue on its people. Ancient Rome, Napoleon, and now Zero. English is wreaking havoc around the world right now. The British Empire tilled the land with war as its hoe, then began planting the seed that is English. Eventually, American capitalism became the new instrument. To play its game of wealth, you only had to abide by one rule: English. exploiting people's desires. English has become a leash that people gladly wear around their necks, it would seem.
Please specify a project. Please select a landing zone.
There's something I've been wondering. Why are you called Code Talker? During World War II, the U.S. military used the languages of different tribes, including the Navajo, as codes, right? I know the term Code Talker was used to mean people sent to the battlefield to speak in those codes. Were you one of them?
Our mother tongue was indeed used for war. But I did not go. I was already over the conscription age. However, I was made to help craft the codes that were spoken. So in a wider sense, you could call me a code talker for that. Navajo is a complex language, and virtually no one outside the U.S. speaks it. They must have thought it was the perfect language to use as a code.
Yeah, in the end, the Japanese never cracked it. The cipher is key in information warfare.
Of course, they didn't simply speak in Navajo. They created substitutions for words according to a code book, and then translated those into our language. Young Diné was sent to the front lines of the Pacific Theater as code talkers. The fight is an honor for the Diné. They were the pride of our people. But I cannot say this history brings me joy. Words are alive. When they are spoken, life is breathed into them. They become a part of the listener. Our words were transformed into lifeless ciphers and used for war. This, after the Black Ana spent generations suppressing the language.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So I guess we shouldn't be calling you Code Talker, huh?
No, I do not mind. The reason Skullface called me Code Talker was because I also am responsible for coding language into the vocal cord parasites. I am the same as those young warriors, used for a cipher's sake. I must never forget that. The name, Code Talker, is a lesson carved into my being.
You said Skullface ordered you to weaponize the vocal cord parasites. But you also said he wasn't the reason.
And he wasn't. I was seduced by the parasites. That is a fact.
How? You mean from your curiosity as a scientist?
That I cannot deny. But there is more to it. The story goes back to the 19th century. To my earliest memory, one day, a man from the government visited our Hogan, our home. I cried as he yanked me from my mother's arms and took me away to an Indian boarding school. From that day forward, I became George. This was the name my teacher gave me. I was forced to give up my Diné name, forbidden from speaking anything but English. If we dared utter a word of filthy Navajo, the teacher made us eat a bar of soap.
Yeah, that was the U.S. government's education policy for Native Americans.
To erase our words was like erasing our people. Their education was tantamount to ethnic cleansing. Over time, the overt persecution of our language stopped. But to this day, it continues to be eaten away by the lingua franca, that is English. Many of the Diné outside the reservations can speak nothing else. And it isn't just our language. Across the world, minority languages are being destroyed by dominant languages. Many are on the verge of extinction.
Enter the vocal cord parasites.
Yes, I began thinking that minority languages needed some sort of deterrent against dominant languages. In order that their peoples and cultures would survive. It was then that I came across literature at the Foundation claiming that man acquired language thanks to a type of parasite, one that distinguishes between languages as a precursor to reproduction. If I could just resurrect it, make it more pathogenic, I would have my deterrent against English. But I failed to hide that aim from Skullface. He noticed. Yes, I wanted to retaliate against the English language. Though Never did I intend to actually use it as he planned. You know how the story ends. I was forced to study how to make the parasites compatible with all the world's languages. All but English.
However, he in fact secretly isolated an English strain.
I will not be held prisoner by the man's phantom. The English strain must not be allowed to exist either.
Fire! Cover me!
Boss, that's a serious injury. It won't heal on its own. You'll need to treat it with first aid. Roger that.
Analysis complete.
You got to extract him.
Analysis complete. Analysis complete.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
You have arrived at your destination. Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Analysis complete.
Это командир. Внешняя радиосвязь вышла из строя. Мы не можем вызвать подкрепление с других аванпостов. Окопайтесь и удерживайте позиции своими силами. Конец связи.
Analysis complete.
You gotta extract him.
Это КП, понял. Обследуйте сектор. Но осторожно. Конец связи. Cease cover fire! Spit it out. Where are the others?
Map has been updated.
Мы не можем вызвать подкрепление с других аванпостов. Окопайтесь и удерживайте позиции своими силами. Конец связи! Fire!
Outpost captured.
Не делай этого! Speak. Where are your friends?
The map has been updated.
Spit it out. Where are the others?
The map has been updated.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Я не хочу умирать!
Where are the others?
The map has been updated.
Hands up.
Подожди, не стреляй!
Where are your friends?
The map has been updated.
Кто-нибудь снимите меня!
Spit it out. Where are your friends?
He's coming too.
Has been
Roger that.
Кто-нибудь снимите меня!
Talk.
The map has been updated.
You gotta extract him.
Hands up.
Подожди, не стреляй!
Speak. Where are the others?
The map has been updated. Analysis complete.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Я не хочу умирать!
Speak.
He's coming too. Roger that.
Please select a dispatch requested. Buddy departing area of operations. has arrived. The map has been updated.
Контакт!
Всем боевым группам на КП! Попали! Всем подразделениям занять боевые позиции!
You have arrived at your destination.
Кто-нибудь!
You gotta extract him.
You have arrived at your destination. Weather will clear shortly. Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
I barely recognize you, Colonel. Skullface used your thirst for revenge against Big Boss, did he?
Boss, I've updated the mission list.
Updated.
We've received some new job offers. Your details are on your iDroid.
Development project has been added.
So what were they doing in Nzoya Badia, Baloo? That facility with all the people laid out in rows?
The abandoned factory Shabani was held in. It is precisely as you guessed. Black Anna was coding languages into the vocal cord parasites. They infected the subjects with the parasites, then made an incision in the throat to expose the vocal cords. That allowed them to play recordings of a desired language directly to the parasites.
And the parasites learn the languages that way. That's some teaching method. I just don't get how a bunch of bugs had the brain power for it.
They don't. Do not judge them by human standards. They do not learn as a function of intellect.
Then how do they do it?
What language the parasites react to is coded into their genes. You could expose the Japanese strain to English for years, and it would never learn the language and react to it. The pronunciation, rhythm, and structure are different. But what about, say, Spanish and Portuguese? Linguistically, the two are very close.
Yeah, they're both Ibero-Romance languages.
Even so, a Spanish language mating pair exposed to Portuguese will not copulate. Only when they hear Spanish. Only then. And the majority of their offspring will be the same.
So it's a literal case of a mother tongue.
But if that's so, I don't see how the different strains can be created in the first place.
Well, among the many thousands of offspring, there may be just a few that react to Portuguese.
You're talking about mutations.
Correct. Playing the tapes helps to identify the mutant strains. Those specimens are then isolated and bred with one another. From their children, specimens that react more strongly to Portuguese can again be selected and bred. Repeating this process creates a strain that reacts solely to Portuguese and never to Spanish. Mutation and selection. No different to breeding roses.
So you kept increasing the change over the generations, adapting them to languages from all over the world. Must have taken a hell of a lot of patience.
More like patience. Just how many died for this?
There's something I still don't get. In order to tell which larvae will react to Portuguese, you'd have to let them develop and then see which copulate. That means you'd need tens of thousands of guinea pigs. There's no way you could do that in a facility that small.
For normal selective breeding methods, you would be right. But there is a more effective selection method when training the vocal cord parasites.
Go on.
It is not only when mating that the parasites listen for language. Shortly before hatching, larvae display markedly increased activity in reaction to particular language. The active eggs can be identified under a black light. So the eggs that react to Portuguese are selectively placed in the throats of subjects. So you see, narrowing down strains that react to the target language is an effective process. Though I'm sure that even so, many lost their lives to create the various strains.
Taken against their will into that dungeon.
There are two reasons for playing the tapes for the parasites. One, to isolate the eggs that respond to the target language. And two, to cause the specimens raised from the selected eggs to mate.
I get how the system works. But why do they respond to language before they even hatch? It's not like they can mate from inside an egg.
It is because the larvae learn the language before hatching.
You mentioned that what language the parasites respond to is hard-coded into their genes, and that they don't have the brain power to actually learn a language. But then you say that the larvae at Nzoia Badia Bulu were learning the languages in the egg. Your story...
Please select a mission.
Boss, there's something I want to talk about. It concerns the running of Mother Base. This base belongs to you now. Make Diamond Dogs the force it deserves to be. Like any organization, we need good people, and we need to make good use of their talents. Miller asked me to lay that out for you. Come meet with me. Miller could do with some rest.
Mission accepted.
Snake. Why are we still here? Just to suffer. Every night, I can feel my leg, and my arm, even my fingers. The body I've lost, the comrades I've lost, won't stop hurting. It's like they're all still there. You feel it too, don't you? I'm the one who got caught up with Cypher. A group above nations, even the US. And I was the parasite below, feeding off Zero's power. They came after you in Cyprus. Then Afghanistan. Cypher just keeps growing. Swallowing everything in its path. Getting bigger and bigger. Who knows how big now? Boss. I'm gonna make them give back our past. Take back everything that we've lost. And I won't rest until we do.
Approaching Mother Base.
Our new Mother Base. I don't know how long it'll take, but I'll make it bigger. Better than before. God. What should I do? Boss? Tell me. Tell me like you used to. Things have changed, boss. We pull in money, recruits, just to combat Cypher. rubbing our noses in bloody battlefield dirt. All for revenge. The world calls for wet work, and we answer. No greater good. No just cause. Cause. Cypher sent us to hell. But we're going even deeper.
I know. I'm already a demon. Heaven's not my kind of place anyway.
Dogs of war for 9 whole years. That ends today. Now you're not sleeping, and we're not junkyard hounds. We're diamond dogs.
Let them talk.
We can crush Cypher, boss. And you can build the army that can do it.
Just one thing, Kaz. This isn't about the past. We're fighting for the future.
Boss, there's something I want to talk about. You came. This base belongs to you now. Make Diamond Dogs the force it deserves. Like any organization, we need good people, and we need to make good use of their talents. Miller asked me to lay that out for you. To start bringing people in, use this. It's a Fulton recovery device. When you're in the field, use it to extract any soldiers or prisoners you want back here. And we'll see if we can't persuade them to join the ranks of Diamond Dogs. Go on. Test it out on the staff here. Anyone you want. First, put them to sleep. You have a tranquilizer gun, don't you?
I'm ready, boss.
Out like a light. Now approach him and extract him. Good. Extraction complete.
Arrived at Mother
You can only
Base.
Fulton recover someone if they're not resisting it. No dead bodies either. They don't make great recruits. The staff member you just extracted will be assigned to the team best suited to his abilities. See for yourself. Open your iDroid. Select staff management from the Mother Base menu. So that staff member was placed on the R&D team. The R&D team is in charge of developing all kinds of weapons and items that will support you on missions. Take a look at the development list. Select weapons items under the development heading.
Please specify
That's the R&D
project.
team's development list. See the item called cardboard box? Didn't seem much use to me, but Miller was adamant that you'd want it on the list. The last word in infiltration technology, or so he said. In any case, we don't have the manpower to develop it just yet. We need more staff on the team. Go extract a few more people. Boss, put the iDroid away for a moment. You can also Fulton extract individuals you've knocked out. Why don't you try knocking someone out with CQC next? Show them how it's done, boss. Try throwing. It's the best way to knock someone out instantly. That works too. Good. Extraction complete.
Arrived at Mother
One thing I
Base.
should mention. A Fulton extraction won't always be successful. If the person is injured, the shock of it could kill them. And if the weather's unfavorable, well, they could end up going missing. You can determine the chance of success by approaching the person you want to extract. If you want to be sure you can get them out, best carry them to the chopper instead. All right, extract the next staff member.
Don't pull any punches.
Extractor. Use any method. If there are multiple adversaries nearby,
an honor,
perform
boss.
CQC on them in quick succession. This allows you to take them all out before any of them can strike back.
Extraction
Now
arrived
there are
at
more
Mother
people on
Base.
the R&D. Its level has gone up. They should be able to develop the cardboard box now. Open your iDroid.
Select weapons items under the development
Please
heading.
specify
Now select
project.
cardboard box and start development. Just be aware that development requires funds. GMP.
Development has finished.
Please select supplies
You can have the support
requested.
unit supply you with weapons and items you
Supply
develop.
drop
Think of it
complete.
as your own personal delivery service.
And there it is. Not sure what it's good for, but Miller said you know what to do. Try it out. One last thing. The staff members you extracted were all placed on the R&D team, but that was Miller's decision. If you think they belong somewhere else, you're free to move them around. Well, that about does it.
Mission
You won't
info
make any
has been
GMP or
updated.
find recruits hanging around here. Board the chopper when you're ready for a mission. Open your iDroid and select a landing zone to tell it where to pick you up. Or if you're still in the mood for knocking guys on their asses, you can stay around here a while. Give the men some practice. Just come pay me a visit. Boss, let's practice your CQC. Begin by grabbing them. Once you've grabbed someone, you're free to do as you like. Interrogate him, knock him out, kill him. Scratch that last one for me. Go ahead and knock him out.
Development complete.
Extract the staff member.
Don't pull any punches.
Extraction
fist fight.
arrived at Mother
Strike
Base.
an adversary repeatedly to knock him out. He'll stay unconscious for longer than if you throw him. Go on and extract him. Starting
Extraction
to feel like yourself
arrived
again?
at Mother
The rest will
Base.
fall into place with some time in the field. Go ahead and call the chopper from your iDroid.
Please select a landing zone.
This is
confirmed.
B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. On station at LZ.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base. Plant expansion commission list updated. Please specify a project. Please specify a project. Please specify a project. Please specify a project. Please select a mission.
So I'm gonna go, but just in case, yeah, because it's friend time now, but just in case you didn't catch that, because I know when I first played, I didn't catch it either. That looked like I just replayed the second mission over. You know, it took me back to the beginning, blah, blah, blah. But in actuality, I didn't realize this until I played it again. Flashbacks have hidden details, or not hidden, but more details. The cinematic or the level plays out differently to show more of what's going on. So just be aware on flashbacks, there's more happening. More information given. You notice them if you're side by side, or if you play multiple times like I do. But yeah, there was more to the story there. It was pretty cool. So just in case that went over someone's head, like, why did you just replay the second chapter for no reason? When the chapter has flashback next to it, it's different. It shows more. All right, cool. Gears times.